And so what you got eventually was society is ended, that was there before by the arrival of the moon. Things settled down. Genetic manipulation starts tuning the human species into the moon matrix, the moon transmissions, which obviously started with a very small population. I say it came out of Africa. That seems to be what anthropologists agree with as well, this species. And it manifested eventually as the human species, as we know it today. And when I saw a movie, I think it was made in the 1980s, I saw it in the 1990s, called They Live. It was not just produced, I think he did everything. He wrote the music, every bloody thing. John Carpenter, who has worked with George Lucas on Star Wars, the special effects and stuff. When I first saw this movie, They Live, and by the way, if you go on YouTube and put They Live John Carpenter in, you can still see it in sections. I do recommend it. I could see at the time, Bill, that it very much was a statement about how I was understanding the world as the years passed. But my goodness me, from the perspective sitting here, it is absolutely spot on. If this guy will, of course, John Carpenter claimed that it's nothing like that. It was just a story. No, come on, John, please, come on, don't insult our intelligence. And for people who haven't come across it, this was it. Started off with a massive economic depression in America. It was set, and it was in the future from the 1980s when it came out, but that future's about now. It was a major economic depression, and there were people living, in tent cities and corrugated iron groups of cobbled together places to sleep on wasteland, happening across America now. And the main character was coming through at the start of the movie, and he's looking for a job in the building industry, and there aren't any, but he manages to get one. At the end of the day, a big black guy says to him on the building site, "Do you ever want to stay?" He said, "No, I haven't." So they go back, long story short, to this makeshift village on a piece of wasteland, tents and corrugated iron kind of put together buildings, and they managed to somehow rig up a television set, not a very good one, in this little village. And they're watching it just after he arrives. And suddenly the program is broken up, and in kicks in this man just saying, "They're here," words to this effect, I can't remember every word. "They're here, we don't realize they're here, they're here. They're controlling us, they're controlling us." Anyway, the guy, I'll call him the builder, the fellow arrived and was introduced to this village. He started to get very curious about a church across the road, because the activity. Some people from here were going in there, and it was strange. Anyway, he goes in and he has a look, and he realizes that the church music coming out during this church service, when he creeps around, is actually a bloody tape running, right? And it's an undercover operation by these people to resist the control system. Because not only was there an economic depression, there was a police state. It's now. That's where it was located. So anyway, that night, there's a police state raid. There's helicopters, police, guns, and the bulldozers come in and they raise the village. Next day, some of them are arrested, he gets away. He comes back to the church next morning. And I think, as I remember, he noticed that there were some boxes, some cardboard boxes when he first went. And he went back and he got hold of one. And he ran out, there's no one there at the time, he ran out down into to this passageway between these big buildings, back passageway. And he opens the box. And there's just bloody sunglasses. And of course he's taken aback and disappointed that they're only sunglasses. So he gets one, puts them in his pocket, throws the box away, and walks out. And he walks out into the main street, and he puts the glasses on. Now the world's completely different. Now he's seeing not an advert for Coca-Cola, he's seeing "stay asleep" on that ad board. Not an advert for a holiday location, but don't question authority, obey. You can see them through the glasses. Then he goes to this newsstand, and he's looking through these magazines like Newsweek, Time, that kind of thing, with his naked eyes, and there's text and there's pictures like there normally are. Puts the glasses on, all subliminal, stay asleep, obey authority, all this stuff. Then a guy comes to buy a paper, and he looks at him, he looks human. puts the glasses on, guy's not human anymore. So he starts going round, and he starts to realize, not everyone, and nothing like the majority, but a significant number of people, when he's got the glasses on, which are decoding reality in a different way, are actually not human. But through the naked eye, he keeps doing this, they're human. So he realizes what's going on. He looks at the television, the president's making a speech, he's not human. Members of the police force are not human. Goes into a bank, a number of them are not human, and so it goes on. Now, bringing that round to the conclusion, how the movie ends up is they realize that the reason the humanity cannot see what he can see with his glasses is because at the top of the television tower is a massive dish that's broadcasting a transmission, which is blocking, I would use the word firewalling off, just like the Chinese authorities firewall off the computer system and the internet access system in China, so that Chinese people can't access great chunks of the internet the rest of us can, that this signal from this dish at the top of this television tower was firewalling off the population's ability to see what he could see with his glasses. What I'm saying in the book is if you take that dish on the television tower, symbolically in the movie, and you put it on the moon, then you pretty much got the theme of what I'm talking about. And of course there's a lot more detail to know, but in terms of the theme. And just going on from that, you know, because information's coming to me so fast at the moment, and in this way I described earlier. And I'm convinced that this moon matrix operates within a bigger control matrix, and I think the planet Saturn is massively involved in that. I think there's so much more to know about the moons of Saturn and why it has so many, and also why George Lucas, quite demonstrably, when you see the two put together, based the Death Star on Mimas, one of the moons of Saturn. And of course, as you well know, Bill, insiders have talked about enormous ships of incomprehensible from our perspective sizes going in and out of Saturn.
Norman Bergrund, the ringmakers of Saturn.
Yeah. And I think at a Barcelona conference more recently people have talked about that as well. And yeah, and the thing is that I think there's a big switch that we need to understand, and that is that because we on this planet Earth live on the, at least in the holographic illusory reality, where do we live really within what we call time and space? But from our perception anyway, we live on the outside of the planet. Is that necessarily how all planets work? I feel that at least large numbers of planets operate by the population living within the planet and not actually on the outside. And coming back to, and that's why I think we've missed a lot, because you look at the outside and you say it's uninhabitable. Well, maybe it is on the outside, but what's on the inside? But coming back to, you mentioned earlier about Avatar, I think, like I say, I don't know what Cameron was symbolizing, but it blatantly symbolizes this to me. If you take the blue people with the lion noses, and I think the lion symbolism is very, very powerful, because I think that I use that as a symbol of the real human as opposed to the suppressed human that we've become. Then you take the blue people with the lion noses, you take them to be humanity before the schism, before the predators arrived, in harmony, total connection with everything. And then you take the American military with their high technology coming into that moon, whether it Pandora they called it, and taking over, taking the resources, just having no comprehension for the connection of everything, just destroy it. You take that American military in Avatar to be these reptilian predators, and I think you're bloody close in theme to what actually happened.